to speak to UTME candidates, and I'm very sure that this will be your last UTME. Yeah, you heard me right. This is your last UTME. So some of you might have written UTME, the UTME before now. You might have had 1 or 2 attempts, or for some of you, this is your first attempt at the UTME. Yet, it's more like I'm bringing a new ray of hope for you, because this is your last UTME. And I'm saying this with so much confidence that after the webinar today, if you are able to apply what you've learned yesterday and what you are going to learn today, you may not have to attempt the UTME anymore. So a quick question before I move on. When you hear the word JAMB, JAMB is the board and UTME is the exam. So when you hear the word JAMB, like everybody calls it, what do you think? What comes to your mind? I need your responses. One quick fact. To be able to differentiate UTME from JAMB can help you pass your English, by the way. So when you hear the word JAMB, which is what everybody calls the exam, what comes to your mind? I believe you can hear me. What comes to your mind when you hear the word JAMB? So heads up, something like, oh, that difficult exam, that's this exam. What have you heard about UTME that whenever you hear the word JAMB, it makes you think in a certain way? I'm waiting to hear your responses. Wow. You see it as competition.
Okay.
You can just type it out so that the call does not get rowdy. Thank you. So when you hear the word JAMB, what do you think of? Omo Busuyimi says she sees it as a competition. Wow, so much for JAMB. She sees it as a competition. Hi, Yetunde, please, you might want to mute your mic so that you don't interfere in the conversation. I can't believe Bogo says it makes her scared. Oh wow.
No, I'm sharing.
Okay.
I'm sharing some of the. Hi, Princess. I'm sharing some of
I
the
can hear you.
responses that were dropped in the call, not on the group. So you probably
Oh, I
missed.
see.
I'm helping you to share them on the group. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So when you hear JAMB, you are scared, your heart beats fast. Okay. So that's the function of adrenaline. You see JAMB as a stage for a fight, like a boxing ring. So your heart beats faster. Your nervous system becomes heightened, like, oh, let's fight this. Clint sees JAMB as a bridge in life that has to be passed through hard work. Yeah, makes sense. So while we go on, your responses, I was expecting these responses, by the way. I was really expecting it, and you guys did not surprise me at all. And funnily enough, when I was still writing UTME, at some point, UTME was a competition for me because I was about to get into the University of Ibadan, and I wanted to study medicine and surgery. So it was seen as a competition. You have to give it all your best and be among the people that would be admitted into school, or you go home. Then about the fear, yes, the fear was so real. The fear was so real. At some point towards the exam, your heart begins to beat fast. In fact, even when you are so prepared, you begin to feel like you are not prepared at all. Well, and Buswimi just said that according to what her senior scored last year, she sees the UTME as a simple exam. The UTME is an exam that determines if you would proceed to the next level or stage in terms of academics. Perfect. Without the UTME, you cannot gain admission into a Nigerian university, and the exam is very pivotal. So now let's get into the discourse for today. So let me be honest with you. The UTME is not the monster that many people have made it to look like. Drawing an analogy from the post-UTME at the University of Ibadan, whereby many people have made this seem like, oh, you can't pass this exam. Sadly, people are failing not because these exams are hard. People are failing not because UTME is hard. They are failing because they approach it with fear, confusion, and no clear strategy. Because you are approaching the UTME the wrong way, that is why people fail. If there are people that have attempted UTME before, just cast your mind back and reflect on what you've been doing while you have been preparing for the UTME. What are the words you've been saying? What was your heart posture while you were preparing? What did you think about the exam as a whole? Did you think it was something you could not conquer as a student? Or let's say you feel you are an average student. Did you see the UTME as something you could not conquer? So next slide. What are you really afraid of? Are you afraid of JAMB itself? Or are you afraid because you are not sure you are prepared well? Now, this is the reality. Many people are afraid of exams that they are not well prepared for. Why for some people, they're afraid of the exam entirely. Like they've heard a lot of stories about how people don't pass the UTME because of this, that, and that. So they just zero their mind in on the fact that they're going to fail the exam they've never even sat for. So why are you afraid? Is it because you've not prepared well enough? There's that part for many students whereby you've not prepared enough for an exam. So you are just scared about the whole outcome of the exam. So, and one thing you need to take note of is that the fear surrounding UTME is very much psychological, because once you are well prepared and I'm not talking about just, oh, I've read my book for UTME. Once you are prepared strategically, you would be confident about the exam that you're going to sit for. So it is important to note that you have to be prepared, and not just being prepared per se, oh, I have read, I have studied, I know everything I want to go and write there. You have to be prepared strategically and structured, and your preparation has to be structured, especially that you are a member of the GBA community. I believe that your preparation is being structured. So you just sitting in your house and saying, oh, I'm prepared for this exam, you might be dazed when you get to the exam hall. Seriously, you realize there that you were not prepared for the exam at all. So apart from just preparing, you have to strategically prepare for the exam. Next slide. The truth about the UTME is that the UTME is one of the most predictable exams you would ever write. I said it. It is one of the most easiest exams you would ever write. The UTME is easier than the WAEC. And I even think it's easier than common entrance, by the way. Because by the time you write the UTME and you reflect on the UTME, you feel like, oh, I see why this particular person, Princess, said it the day she spoke to us. The UTME is one of the most predictable exams you would ever write. And many people score low every year, not because this exam is hard, but because candidates prepare wrongly. People are putting in some effort. I see many young people are preparing for the UTME and they're just on TikTok morning to night. They are doing one thing or the other. But I see some other students who prepare but still get low scores during the UTME. And for the most part, we may not want to admit it, but these candidates are not really preparing the right way for the UTME. And fortunately, UTME rewards discipline. UTME rewards familiarity with their questions and their structure of questions, and it also rewards repetition. It's only what you revised, it's only what you've solved previously that you can decide to attempt correctly during the exam. And why can I say this with confidence? I have a very long story with UTME, by the way. I wrote UTME 5 times before I gained admission into the university. You might be shocked. I wrote UTME 5 times, and for every single time I wrote the UTME, my lowest score was 262 in 2021. It's not a sad story, because I can speak to you today and tell you that this is what works and this is what does not work. I even built a UTME pattern for myself that made me get 347 during my last attempt. And whatever I'm sharing with you today, it did not just come out of 1 year of sitting down and writing UTME. What I'm sharing with you today is coming from careful observation of UTME patterns. By the way, I think I need a PhD in UTME at this stage. So it has come from careful observation of the UTME patterns. And I promise you, if you put all these things to practice, you would find yourself in the 4 walls of a university by the end of this year, sincerely speaking. The first time I wrote the UTME, I prepared like every other normal person, and I had 278. The second time I wrote the UTME, I had 303. The third time I wrote the UTME, I had 323. And the fourth time, I had 262. Then the fifth time, I had 347. How was I able to achieve all those things and not get into university? One, I was applying for a very competitive course in competitive universities. So the first, if you want to study medicine and surgery in a state school and you're having 262, you should just kindly change your course. So this is another topic for another event. For example, when you're preparing for your post-UTME and you're trying to gain admission. So if you want to get above, if you want to get above 300, you want to be among the 300 plus guys and everything, you just have to listen attentively. And funny enough, the year I got 347, I was the highest UTME candidate in my youth. I had the highest UTME score in my set. I had the highest aggregate as well. So when it was time to set the cutoff mark, my name was just like the first name to clear the list. And I was able to get 347 when I began to treat UTME like a system that could be understood and mastered. So there's something someone was discussing this week, and he was saying something about consistency. If you are consistent doing the wrong things, you keep getting the wrong results. But once you start treating your consistency with strategy, you will get the right result, and you will get the right result. And for you, your result is 300 plus. So if you want 300 plus, your life must reflect it. You cannot want a high score and still live like everyone else. If 300 plus is your goal, your routine has to change, distractions have to reduce, and your study time has to increase, because excellence is not accidental. It's not come and meet you where you are. It will show in your daily habits, what you do daily. So we're in a realm of social media, we're in social media age and everything. But if you know that you don't want to stay at home this year, you have to schedule your life, make sure that you prioritize your study. And while you are studying, you can want to put off your every distraction, mute your notifications, leave whatever discussion you are having, and just do your deep work for some hours. You can use the Pomodoro, where you study 25 minutes and then have 5 minutes break. And that break should not be the time to go to your phone. Use the break to look at past questions. Use the break to do something productive that would add more scores, more points to your UTME score. Because at the end of I don't know how many months is remaining for the UTME to start this year, but if you look at it, very soon you'll be off this whole UTME table and you'll be moving to another table called post UTME if the school of your choice does that. So just the little months you have left, you can just use it to focus on getting your goal of 300 plus. And I know that, yes, I saw the testimonials, and the highest score last year from GPA was 275. That does not mean you should not be aiming at 280. You should aim high. If you want to study competitive courses in competitive schools like federal universities and some state universities, you should be aiming for so much, because if you do not aim for so much, you may be forced to read something that is not your course of choice, or you may be forced to wait another year, which is not something I advise, by the way. Now, what do average candidates do wrong? Average candidates would read passively, and this is where you should really focus, because this is the part where you need to really listen and focus, because this is what everybody do every year, and they don't get admission, or they fail UTME. Why is it that why do many people fail the UTME, and why is it that some people do not move past the specific threshold? Most people stay where they are and do not get high scores because they read passively and just hope it sticks somewhere. So you are seeing reading or studying as a chore, and you open your book and you read, and you just read the passage, and let's say the pages you decided to read, and you read, and you sometimes you write it back, and then you just keep the book and you just hope that I remember it in my exam hall. I don't know if that word delulu still exists, but I think it does. There are strategies for studying. And active study is needed. Ask yourself questions. Have questions from what you are studying. Why am I studying this particular chapter in my chemistry textbook? What do I need from this chapter? So if you study that way, you'll be able to get results faster. So you don't just start from the beginning to the end of the book and you write it down, or you just hope it's something is there. Some people just make mental notes of what they study. That's fine. But then you just hope that by the time I get to the hall, I kind of remember something. You don't even like go back to revise or look for a way to actively recall all that you have read. You are just setting yourself up for big failure if you are imagining that you can remember what you are studying for the UTME on the UTME day without having to go back to recall what you've read, and also have objectives for each study. Don't just sit down and open the book, like scan through the pages, look at important parts. Oh, is this important for me? Is this important for me? It's not that even the writer of the book will write an analogy and you also write the analogy too. You are just packing information into your brain and it might not really help you. So average candidates avoid past questions. I know for so many of us, we've written out the syllabus, we've marked out places we are going to read, and we're reading those pages and chapters judiciously every day, but we do not solve questions. We do not go back to say, okay, how much of what I've studied is in my brain. Last year rather, I learned something in psychology about memory. So your memory, there are a lot of things that your memory would not be able to remember, if you do not go back to check out these things. There are a lot of things that you would actually forget if you do not test yourself. We have working memory, short-term memory, long-term memory. So for some of us, before we enter the exam hall, we still look at our phones and we're like, this, and this. And then that's like your working memory. Then for some of us, our short-term memory will just cram the night before. Don't think that method is going to save you in UTME. If that is the method you're planning to use for 2026 UTME, kindly discard it, because it's not going to work at all. During my first UTME attempts, I used that method a lot when I got to 78. But you might say I was lucky. to have the 278, by the way. But then I also studied medicine and surgery in the University of Nigeria in Suka. And then there are like 1,000 students ahead of me that have 300 plus, and all the local village champion with our 278. So everybody will be happy. Oh, you scored so well. You scored so high. But then the real, where you should be happy is when you can look at, oh, look at the people that are applying for medicine and surgery. You might have joined a particular UTME group, and you are seeing like 100 students in the group. They are applying to your university, and all of them are on 300 and something plus. And how many students would they even really admit in that school? So whatever your target is, like I saw someone say they learned from yesterday's session that they should have a target and all of that. Whatever your target is, you should make sure that you study past question and you do not wait till you get to the exam hall to know that, oh, this particular area, I'm weak in it or not. Average students, they study without testing themselves. And I just said it now. Apart from solving past questions, there's something called mock exams. Please take as many mock exams as you can. If you can take it weekly, it will help you a lot. Take as many mock exams. Don't go to the exam hall to find out your level of preparation there. What mock exams do is to help you know, oh, I'm strong in this area, I'm weak in this area. This might be how I'm going to react in real exam conditions. And they help you prepare yourself very well for your exam. If you wait till your exam day to notice that, oh, I don't really know how to solve electricity problems, you are gambling with your time because you're going to spend another 365 days at home if you're not careful. Next slide. Top scorers solve past questions seriously and repeatedly. They solve past questions seriously and repeatedly. It's not just, oh, you check number one, you solve number one, and then you go and check the answer at the back. And you think, oh, I'm solving past questions. They told us to study past questions at the webinar, and that's what I'm doing. It will shock you on the exam day where you see a similar question and you cannot even answer it. And another thing is that don't just study past question with the idea that, okay, when I get to the exam hall, it's these same questions I have solved that I will see. You might be shocked as well. So what past questions do is to show you the way the UTME questions are set. Is to show you the way JAMB sets their question and then gives you an idea of how you should also respond to them. They do not exactly mean that they'll repeat those same questions in the exam. And even if they want to repeat any question or repeat anything, they might likely repeat the format of asking questions. So if you've solved past questions repeatedly, you have a very high chance of scoring above 270 plus. Now, if you also do mocks, you have a high chance of getting up to 300 plus. And if you correct yourself very well, you study the weak areas deliberately, you are likely to get up to 350 plus. So you can see that the UTME is not just about reading your textbook from cover to cover. You can read your textbook from cover to cover, know everything in your textbook, and fail woefully. People get below 300 plus and they teach tutorials. Really, I'm not going to lie. There are many people that teach tutorials and they've not been able to score to 300 plus in their UTME. It's not just about knowing what's inside the pages of the books, about strategic study. If you know you have weak areas, put in a lot of time there. The ones that you know that, oh, they're easy for you, you can wake up from sleep and they ask you. You can also practice them, but make your weakness your strength for UTME. Then you also have to join tutorials, study groups for structure and accountability. This cannot be like underestimated at all. You need accountability. You need a group of people that have the same goal as you so that you can also hit the specific goal in your mind. Don't like bring in somebody that just wants to pass into your study group. Make sure you form study groups of people that, oh, they also want to score so high and get out of their parents' house. So join tutorials, attend tutorials, pay for tutorials. Like just pay. That investment is going to save you a lot of stress, a lot of mistakes. And then make sure that you have an accountability partner. If possible, have someone wake you up at specific times to wake up and study. Have someone that you guys can go over what you've read for the week together. I do not actually read with people, like read the same thing as people read. But one thing I do is that, okay, when I've read, I talk to my friends about what I've read, and then my friend tells me, oh, this is what I have read as well. So at the end of the day, if I've not read what my friend has read, I have the knowledge my friend has. And if my friend has not read what I have read, my friend has the knowledge that I have. And that way we can do so much more with limited time. Now, mocks are not for showing off. You are not supposed to be doing mocks to impress anyone. The UTME organizes one mock for candidates, but then you're supposed to have been doing several mocks like almost every week or so before your UTME day. So some tutorials actually could do mocks for people. While sometimes you might have to like go online and search for some CBT practice. That it's also related to CBT practice. But then just make sure it's not the same questions you have been answering from the beginning that you're going to answer throughout the whole time you've been doing the mock. Like put yourself in exam mode, in exam condition every single time. Mocks show you where you are failing, where you need to fix problems, and it also trains your brain for exam pressure so that it's not just in the hall that your brain is trained to understand exam pressure. If not, you can crash out, you can break down, and you might have studied a lot, yet nothing is going to just come out. So if you fail a mock, that's not the time for you to feel like you're a bad student or you don't have anything upstairs. Strengthen your weak areas and it reduces your chances of failing during the exam. Now, for the exam day and personal strategy, personally, I study until I enter the exam. I don't know if it's as a result of perfection or whatever. It works for me, but it may not work for everybody. Some people perform better with a rested mind and everything. But the key is that you observe what works for you during the mocks and stick to it. So if you don't write mocks, how will you even know what works for you during the exam? And when you enter the exam hall, that's the time to be calm. Pray if you have to. Breathe in, breathe out, take deep breaths. Like, do not face your exam with anxiety. When I'm done with the slides, I'll give you a short tip to overcome anxiety. And now, the real secret, last slide, to being a top scorer. Solve all available past questions. Don't hoard or spare any past question. Any past question you can lay your hands on, solve them, repeat them multiple times, strengthen the areas you keep getting wrong. And if you can do that, as well as writing your mocks and studying strategically, studying smart, not just reading book cover to cover, studying smart, taking note of key points and key areas, not just writing down everything or reading, just downloading everything, including analogies. You should be able to get keynotes from whatever you are studying. And because I said study past questions, do mocks, does not mean you should not study your books intensively. Please do. But then when you're studying intensively, apply these other principles as well. And you will likely be in the top 5% of high UTME scorers this year. That's the secret, actually. Nothing has been is it gate kept or whatever. Just study smartly. And if you can apply this consistently, this can truly be your last UTME. I hope you have been following till this point because I know I've been speaking without stopping. I just felt like I needed to dump everything in my head. Did you guys follow to the end? Does anyone want to type? I don't know. I hope I was not talking to myself, by the way.
You
Okay.
weren't, they were.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So let's talk about how to handle anxiety. So many of us are scared and we are anxious because we treat exams like danger. We treat exams like danger. We do not see exams as a test of our knowledge or something that is quite normal. We see it as an abnormal happening. So whenever you feel anxious about any exams, try to walk around, take deep breaths. You can pray. You should pray, by the way. You should pray about it, take deep breaths, walk around, jot down your thoughts on paper or something, and just calm yourself down. Then you have to reframe what the exam is to you. You can reframe the exam. You can say it loudly, like this is just an exam. It's not like a death sentence. And hopefully you'll feel better. Thank you very much for having me, Gifted Brain Academy. Thank you, Bogo. Thank you to you all for listening. I'm so grateful to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for keeping the emojis coming in. Thank you so much, Princess, for that very detailed session. And very interactive one where you just got to share your story. So you can see, for someone that wrote the JAM, the UTME 5 times, and all of those times our lowest score was 262, I think, or 252, then you should pay attention, and I hope you did. Thank you so much, Princess, once again. So I know you have questions, but you have to wait till the end of all the sessions to ask your questions during the Q&A. So right now, let me get two or three responses on what you learned from Princess session and what you'll be applying in your JAM preparation. So you can share here or you can share in the group. Did you learn anything from that over 30-minute session? And what would you be applying? If Princess could do it, I gave a speech during when I graduated as the best graduating student from my university, and there was one statement I made, which I always make, like even to myself every time, that if someone can do it, those people or that person doesn't have two heads, and so I can do it as well. So if Princess just spoke with you, if she could get 347 in our UTME, then you can do it as well. And you don't have to write the exam, more than once to make that score, like she said. She has given you all the strategies that worked for her, and you can make it work for you as well.
Like,
so let me.
just Bogo said, I'm Marvelous Abimbola, and I'm excited to be here with you tonight. So before we dive in, I love that Princess was already touching little aspects of what I'm going to be speaking about, which is jam phobia, how to overcome fear and perform confidently. So before we dive in, I want to ask you, how many of you have felt your heart racing just thinking about jam? You hear something about jam and your heart is just racing like this. How will I do it? How will I do it? This jam. Oh, this, that. Maybe you couldn't sleep or you felt your mind go blank during practice. Well, I would like us to respond, but if we can't, I want you to know that you are not the only one who has ever felt like that. And you won't even be the last person, and you're not alone. And tonight we're going to be tackling jam phobia head on. And by the end, you have practical tools to walk into exam center with confidence. So I'd like us to get started. Can we still hear me? Hello, can we still hear me? All right. So I would like to start. What is jam phobia? What is jam phobia? So basically, jam phobia is that overwhelming anxiety that comes with UTME. And you just don't know what to do. You don't know how to do it, especially for first timers and for people that have written jam before, or they had a bad score, or they were not able to hit the nail on the head with the exam. So it usually comes with these little signs of sleepless nights, mental blocks, where you know the answers, but suddenly you can't remember. Racing negative thoughts. Hey, what if I fail? What if I pick the wrong answer? What if I oversleep? What if I get to my exam late? What if my internet just cut off? Do you understand? All those negative thoughts. Then physical symptoms like sweating, your hand is shaking, your body is shaking, And even avoiding practice because it triggers anxiety. Yes, I've seen people talk about that. Yes, I don't want to um I don't want to practice. I don't want to practice because if I start practicing, that puts me on that well, my mind will be doing bing bing bing. It will be making me feel somehow. No, those things are just a feeling that you can actually control. So one thing I want to tell you tonight is that fear is a liar. Okay. So it hinders you from what you are capable of doing, and even from what you are much more capable of doing. That is exactly what fear does. It takes your place. Okay. Fear takes your place. It doesn't allow you to expand. It doesn't allow you to express in full form. And that is not good for anybody, either you're writing JAMB or not. Generally in life, fear limits. And as much as all our speakers have been speaking yesterday about, being strategic, using JAMB this, using JAMB that, if you study very well and you let fear to get to you, trust me, you have just wasted your time. Because either you like it or not, these things have a way of, molding and shaping. So and I think another thing is, here's what I want you to know, that this old jam, anxiety, fear is real, but they are not there to stay for long. It is normal that you feel that way. But what is not normal is that you allow those feelings to control you. Do you understand? So it affects thousands of brilliant students every year. It has nothing to do with your intelligence, honestly. When it comes to jam phobia, it has nothing to do with your intelligence. It's a spirit. And when it comes upon you, it tends to want to control everything about you, which is not good enough. So it's about how your mind and body respond to pressure. How your mind and body respond to pressure. And the good news is you can train yourself to respond differently. Okay? You can train yourself to respond differently. And that's exactly what we're going to learn tonight. So please, I want you to follow me. I want to move to the third slide now. So let's understand why this happens. Why jam phobia happens. So number one is high stakes pressure. The jam feels like everything depends on it. Your admission, your future, your family expectations, which is actually correct. Because it's very heavy when your admission, the earlier you gain admission, the better it is for you. Like I always tell people, it is best to do things that are worth doing at the appropriate time. So if you can get a good jam score, if you can overcome fear, those are your determinants. Some of you even have your parents promise you, oh, if you have so score in jam and you're able to gain admission, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that. It feels so heavy. So, and the second thing is past experiences. Maybe you've taken jam before and you didn't hit your target. Then that memory indirectly curates fear if you've not trained your mind to respond to fear differently. So, and the third thing is, time pressure, just thinking about time ticking. Time ticking can make you anxious. You're just too conscious of the time that is ticking. And the fourth thing is
Okay. Can you all hear me? I think our speaker is having network issues. Can you hear me? Okay. So let's just wait a few seconds for her to network through her out. Okay, while we wait for her, are you learning something so far? So far, Just so I know that you are listening, what are some of the things that she has said so far? Yes, I can see that you are learning. What are some of the things that she has said so far about JAMB phobia? Okay, Marvelous, are you back? Yes, she said that fear is a spirit. Yes. She also
Yes, I
said that,
am. I'm so sorry. My network has been going back and forth.
okay. So she also said fear has nothing to do with your intelligence. And now I'll give it back to her. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Sorry for the break in transmission. Can we all still hear me? Can we hear me?
Yes, we can
All
hear
right.
you, Marvelous. You can
So the fourth
continue.
one is misinformation and rumors. Misinformation and rumors. When you keep hearing JAMB is impossible or the system is rigged, and those rich people already have a special center for their kids, blah blah blah. Nobody can pass. JAMB is too difficult. They just mix questions. They just write anyhow. You yourself heard Princess tonight, and I think the lowest JAMB score she ever had was 262, right? And that wasn't the only score she had. And amongst all those scores, that could actually get her some good courses too, if she had wanted to actually study those courses. So, like I was saying, so those seeds of doubt actually grow. Okay, when you allow misinformation and rumors to get to you, then they grow. They are seeds, and the more you dwell on it, the more you keep watering it, and those seeds begins to germinate, which is not good for you. And the fifth one is comparison. Seeing others who seem more prepared makes you question yourself. And that is why you need to start preparing yourself right now. Not until when JAMB is a month away, 2 weeks away, a week away, few days away. No. You need to start preparing yourself right now. So, and also, the fifth one is fear of disappointing the people who believe in you, your parents, teachers, friends. It is good that you want to, make them proud. But if it all starts with you, make yourself proud first. Deal with yourself first. Hmm? By the time you're able to grow yourself and you understand these triggers, those are the first steps to overcoming jam phobia. Because once you know what you're driving, what's driving the fear, you can address it directly. Okay, if it's that the rumors, the misinformation, you begin to block your mind against them. And can we move to the next slide, please? Okay, so we're going to be discussing common anxiety triggers. Common anxiety triggers. We have the before the exam, during the exam, after the exam. So everyone's triggers are slightly different. We are all not built the same way. So what triggers you might not actually trigger another person. So let me break this down into three phases, like before the exam. The negative self-talk. Maybe I'm not smart enough, or you've even heard people say it, or during secondary school, you were not exactly a very serious person. Okay? Or you don't seem like you're exactly a smart person. Then you start saying maybe you're not smart enough. Then you start comparing yourself to others. Then you now accept that. Okay, now I said that I'm not smart enough. It's not like if I read it, I will understand. It's not like if I do this, it will do that. It's not like if those are very bad thing to do. That is a very bad thing to do to yourself. And it is not only about JAMB, because even after JAMB is just one of those steps you take in life. Okay, when you get to uni, you have to write exams, you have to do presentations. You need to be confident, and nobody is going to motivate you more than you can do that to yourself. Nobody is going to believe in you. Nobody knows the extent to which you are capable of excelling in any exam, unlike yourself. That's one thing I want you to know. So the moment you start getting yourself away from the negative thoughts, the negative self-thoughts. Maybe you're not smart enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. The better you become at passing any exam and excelling anywhere in life. So for everyone present here tonight, so this isn't just only limited to JAMB. Okay, if you go back to yesterday's teaching, I don't know if some of you were online and you're able to listen to the speakers, you would see that beyond, beyond passing exam, they give you a strategy that, is not only about you passing the exam, it's about you passing the exam in alignment with what you want to study, with what you want to become. So you're not just doing the exam for, let me just do it sake. You're doing it because of the course you want to study. You're doing it for your career path, and you're doing it for your future. Same with this tackling JAMB phobia. Okay, so it is not only about JAMB, it is about everything you're going to do in life. Fear is a liar. So, and you start comparing yourself to others, last minute cramming. Yes, those don't stick. Okay, exam is just this morning and you carry your book and you're cramming, la cram, la pop. Then you're overthinking what could go wrong. Those are very common anxiety triggers. Another thing is during the exam, seeing a difficult question first and panicking. Okay? You see a difficult question the first time and you're panicking. So watching the timer constantly, noticing others finishing quickly and thinking you're behind, or dwelling on a mistake instead of moving forward. You are in the exam, focus on yourself. It's just like when you go, there's an adage in Yoruba, they'll say that when you go to the market, you have different people selling different things, okay? And if your parents actually send you to buy fish, somebody that is selling, coconut cannot be calling you and you go there. It's not possible. You're only focused on what you've been sent. That is exactly how I want you to do this JAMB this year. So, it doesn't matter how everybody's finishing around you. Focus on your questions. Just because the first question you see is difficult does not mean every other question is going to be difficult. As long as you have read. And does it mean that everything you read is going to come out word for word? No. But of course, if you're able to cover a wide range of studying scope, then you will have more confidence in yourself. And beyond what you think you know, you have already prepared your mind to not get too anxious or to not feel behind or less. And it's just an exam. You can do well. Then another thing is after the exam, you're done with exam, okay? Then you now start obsessing over questions you think you got wrong. Oh, I think these questions, I got it wrong. Oh, I think this, I think that, I think this, I think that. Then you're discussing answers with others and realizing you choose differently. And that's agonizing wait for results. Do you understand? Then, oh, I chose the wrong question. Oh. Then you now start beating yourself to it. It doesn't change anything. Okay? It doesn't change anything. So I want you to take a moment right now and think which of these resonates most with you. Maybe it's the timer, maybe it's comparison, maybe it's that voice in your head. I want you to identify it, name it, because once you know your specific trigger, you can prepare a response for it. So the next slide, please. Now we are getting to the good stuff, which talks about the mindset and preparation, where we have the positive self-talk, daily affirmation, timed practice test, avoid cramming. So now we are going to get to this good stuff, practical strategies. First, reframe your mindset, like I said. Instead of what if I fail? What if you pass? What if you do excellently well? Okay. The what ifs can be changed to negative and to positive rather. Okay. The negative what ifs, what if, the same way you can think of what if I fail is the same way you should think of what if I pass. In fact, in good faith, because you are prepared, you can tell yourself this, you are prepared and you will do your best. That is for somebody that has prepared according to our speakers from yesterday. So, and even today. So there is a place of preparation and there is a place of overcoming fear. So all I'm trying to say is it is possible for you to prepare and still experience fear.
Yeah.
And
We cannot hear you anymore. Apologies for the network issues. I'm sure our speaker is trying to sort the network issue. So she'll be back again. So we have started getting into what's going on? Why is network behaving this way? So we have started getting into the good stuff, like she said, of how we can manage this anxiety. So the network is usually on and off. Okay. Let's just give a few seconds. If it doesn't go through, then we'll move to the next. And we'll probably just have the Q&A. So she would address the remaining presentation as part of the Q&A. Yes. Apologies for the technical issues. Some of these things are inevitable. Okay. Thank you for being patient. Okay, so I think she's still having the network issue, so we'll go straight to the next session. Probably she's able to sort that out before the Q&A. So you just ask your questions if you have questions regarding managing anxiety, how to overcome the JAMB phobia. So she'll probably just outline the points during the Q&A. Hopefully she's able to get back in. So thank you so much for listening. So far, okay, she's back. Okay, so Marvelous, you can speak now, and kindly, if it's possible, to wrap up your session in another 5 minutes before network does this thing again. Over to
all right,
you.
I'm so sorry for the delay and the network issues. I really am. So I would like to say that you should master your preparation. Fear often comes from uncertainty. Can we hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. So uncertainty, the more prepared you are, the more confident you will feel. So it's best you take everything that has been said from yesterday up to now to action so that you review past questions thoroughly, you stick to your study schedule, and please don't cram the night before. Please don't cram. That only increases anxiety. And confidence equals preparation plus repetition. The more you practice under exam-like conditions, the less scary real thing becomes. Honestly, like they say, practice makes perfect. The next slide, we're going to be talking about breathing and anxiety control. This may sound very simple, but breath control is one of the most powerful tools against anxiety. Just like maybe when you're having an altercation or an argument with somebody, sometimes you want to speak, but you just take a deep breath. I'm not going to do that. Okay? The same way you can actually control your anger level, it's the same way your breath can actually control your fear. You can use that to overcome fear. You just, I will quickly teach us the 4-7-8 technique of holding your breath. So when you do it 2 to 3, 4 times, that actually helps. So let's practice it right now. You breathe in 2, 3, 4, you hold. Then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You see how that immediately actually calms your nerves. And when you do this repeatedly 3 to 4 times, it makes your body relax and you're able to take control of it. So moving to the next slide, which is the game changer. So we're going to be talking about the next slide, please. We're going to be focusing on what you can control. Number one is your preparation. Honestly, you can control that because you have the time to prepare. Number two is sleep. You can control your sleep. Don't oversleep. You will still have lots of time to sleep later. But please, now that you're studying for it, am I saying you should not sleep? Your brain needs to relax. You need to sleep. But please don't oversleep at the same time. Another thing is arrival time. Arrive like 45 minutes before your exam. It doesn't make sense that you have exam 8 a.m. and you're just getting there 7:50. That destabilizes your mood because when you see people lining up to get called in, that actually disrupts everything. Then self-talk, you don't talk down on yourself. You don't speak like you're less. Then another thing is your breath, your breathing, exam strategy. What are those things that has worked for you? What are those things that you have imbibed? Try to build on them. Next slide, please. So let me walk you through the winning exam day routine. So the night before, pack everything you need. Your printout, your ID, your pen, your water bottle. Get 7 to 8 hours sleep. That is non-negotiable. It makes your brain relaxed on everything you have read. So do only light review. No every studying when it's close to that time you're going for your exam. And do something relaxing. Pray, meditate, listen to music. Whatever actually works for you. As long as you're prepared before then. So the morning of the exam, wake up early so you're not rushing. If you are somebody that like to not eat before exam, maybe you don't eat. But if you eat something very light and nutritious that is not too heavy. And during the exam, read instructions carefully. Read instructions carefully so you don't make mistakes. Start with questions you're confident about. Don't waste times on questions that seems very difficult. Answer the ones you know. You can always go back to that. And don't be too time conscious. Don't be too obsessive about time. Stop checking time every 30 seconds. That puts you on the edge. Don't do that. So practice this routine before your exam day. Number 9, confidence isn't something you are born with. I would like to say that. Build real confidence. It is not something you're born with. Okay? You build it. It is something you build through action. And first is to celebrate your small wins. If you're able to do practice questions and you're able to get all your practice questions, be confident. Celebrate that because it shows that you can do lots more. Celebrate it. Second, stop comparing yourself to others. Stop comparing yourself to others. Track your progress, not others. Just because others are going through it, no, you're not concerned about everybody else. It is only about you. Be focused on yourself. The third one is trust your preparation. Okay, if you've prepared, actually trust God in your preparation. Trust what you've practiced. Trust what you've learned. On exam day, believe in yourself. Self-belief is not arrogance. It is simply recognizing that you've done the work and you're ready. And I want you to pick something from the speaker that spoke before me, Princess. She seemed so very confident. You can see that she was speaking with so much joy. She was smiling, she was laughing. That is to show confidence, honestly. And even if she attended JAMB 5 times, she still had her scores. And she was still able to tell you confidently that, okay, this is what I wanted. But because of my scores, I could not get them. So that is confidence. Does it matter? No, it matters about what you actually want, what you desire. And the last slide, as we wrap up here, I would like to say that this is your action plan. I would like you to, this week, you identify your specific fear trigger. What are those things that triggers your fear? Write 3 positive affirmations and practice them daily. Speak to people that speaks confidence into you, not people that will degrade you. Okay? Not people that will always tell you you're not enough. Speak to people that will actually speak confident for you. And the week before JAM, establish your exam day routine and practice it. Okay? The week before your JAM, establish a routine that actually aligns with your exam day and practice it. Visualize your success daily. On exam day, arrive early and use your breathing technique. Focus only on what you can control. Okay? On what you can control and trust your preparation. Here's my final message to you actually. You're more than capable. And that fear and what fear tells you is not your capability. You're more than capable. So you're prepared, you have strategies, you have what it takes. Walk into the exam center knowing you belong there. You actually belong there. The exams are waiting for you to crush them. So you've earned your seat. And I want you to show that I want you to show what you know by answering those questions correctly. So I, Marvelous, believe in you. Everyone on this call, I believe in you. And thank you so much. I wish you tremendous success on your JAM. I don't know when JAM is coming, but I wish you success. Thank you for listening. I'm open to questions.